Hello everyone, I hope you're all well. So I've come on today to do some slow stitch, well, not really slow stitch actually. I've come on, this is my Roxy Journal of Stitchery Volume 8 project, and I'm literally just starting it now. So this is my base. I think I showed you my base before, and it's is it jacquard? Tablecloth, and then I'm just putting on these pieces, which are sort of like just pieces in the corner, and I had two of these, and then I had one long piece of this. I know it's pretty manky, but I'm going to be covering some of it up anyway, so it doesn't matter. To me it doesn't matter anyway, so I'm going to be doing embroidery on them. So and then this was one long one, and I cut it in half. Hopefully you can see that. So what I'm going to do is, so these are in each corner. So there's the other one on that corner. I know they're not ironed yet, but they will be. And then this one in this corner. They're going to get pretty messed up, you know, when I'm sort of working on the whole piece. But anyway, these are my corners, so I'm going to make a start just tacking them on, really just base stitching them on. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm not somebody who can work haphazardly just by putting things on in the center and just working my way out, or I just can't do it, you know. I've thought about it, and yeah, it's just not me. Yeah, so I'm going to try and work in a methodical way. If I can't, then I can't, and I'll just abandon the project, because it's just, otherwise it's going to bring me a lot of stress. It's just the way I work. You know, I work in a very, I wouldn't say perfectionist at all. I would never describe myself in that way, but I do work in a way that is sort of has some order, which is odd because I'm not really like that in other areas of my life, as my family will probably attest to right there. So I'll just try and keep it in your view. I'll just pull it up, sorry about this. So I'll pull it up to there, and I'll try and keep it in your view as much as I possibly can. I might pull you back actually, because you know what basting stitch is. So this is sort of more just me catching up with you guys, and I couldn't think, you know, I know that I'd said I was going to work on this, so I thought I'd better make a start on it. So yeah, I'm just going to do a basting stitch, and I'm just let me just think. Yeah, I'm just going to do a little basting stitch. I'll start here. I should have put a knot in it. Anyway, I hope you guys are okay. It's been a couple of weeks, and the reason for that is I've just been so busy with other things. I've also been away for a few days to the Lake District, which was amazing. I had a fantastic time with my family, some of my family, and yeah, it was just really nice. So now I'm just, you know, back and trying to get started. I did, before I went away, I did try and do a video, and it didn't work. I'm really, sometimes I struggle with my videos. I don't know why. Also, my phone, I use my phone to do the videos, and it died. I didn't have enough storage, and it just switched itself off. So I had to clear a lot of storage. So that was another reason why it didn't end up coming up on, well, it just, like I said, it stopped working, so I couldn't do it. Anyway, so I hope you're all well. Yeah, like I say, 2 weeks is a long time really for me not to do a video, but it's absolutely flown by, and as I said, I was just so busy. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way around, and then I can sort of maybe cut across or something. I just want to keep it nice and simple. This is just the basting stitch. So I'll turn this around like this. Try and keep it in your view. Yeah, I've been working on the hearts that I mentioned. For anyone who's new, I've been making hearts for my niece's wedding party, hen party, and so we've been, you know, I've been making the hearts for people, and I will show you them. They're finished now, more or less. I don't think there's any more work to do on them. I don't know why I found them difficult to do. I think I made a heart in the past, sort of recent past, and I struggled with that as well. But once I'd sort of got myself organised, I was okay. It just took me a little while to get into, you know, the right frame of mind to do it. It's getting dark. It's very, very rainy outside today. So we went away in the week, during the week, and the weather was absolutely amazing for the Lake District. It was just fabulous. It was hot, sunny, some cloudy as well, but mostly very warm and sunny, and we had a lovely time. Yeah, it was just fabulous, and we really enjoyed ourselves. We laughed so much. It was just lovely. Just, you know, spending quality time together and having fun. We took, my sister has a dog, so it was with my sister and my niece, who I live mostly close to. You know, my daughter and son are down south. But my sister and niece, we all live sort of relatively close to each other, and so we all went. The three of us went, and my niece has a puppy who's now, I think, might be 3.5 months, something like that. And he's adorable. He's a cockapoo, which is anyone who doesn't know, is a cross between a cocker spaniel and a poodle, and they're just adorable. They're full of energy, bounding around with their bouncy little bodies. For anyone who knows them, you'll know what I mean. They're just so adorable, and he's very, very pretty. And then my sister's dog, who I look after sometimes, Missy, so my niece's dog is called Otis, and my sister's dog is Missy, and she is a cross. She was rescued from Romania. Sorry, I hope my head's not in the way. And I love her so much. She's such a special dog. She's adorable in her own way, and you know, she has her little quirks, like they all do, and especially having been a rescue. But she's amazing. She's so sweet. Oh, I didn't realise. I thought I'd done that. So I look after her a couple of times a week for my sister, because she has abandonment issues. She can't be left. And anyway, it would be too long to be left. My sister's a teacher and she works long hours, so. But she goes to doggy daycare for the other days, and she has fun, and then she comes to me, and we have fun together as well. But she is a gorgeous dog, really lovely temperament, a very special little dog. Where am I at? I've lost my thread and my needle. There we go. Right, so I need to be this way. Sorry, I'm flapping around. I don't want to get told off. Oh, right, now I can see I've got a knot in it there, so I'll just break it. So what was I saying? Yeah, so anyway, we took the dogs, and they provided so much entertainment. Just, oh, they were just fantastic together, running around, you know, chasing each other, but in a friendly doggy way. They just, yeah, it was so nice to watch them, and it was just a really nice. We camped, by the way. My sister has a camper van, and her and Ellie, my sister's name is Jo, so Jo and Ellie slept in the camper van, and I slept in a tent, which, to be honest with you, I didn't think I'd be able to do. I struggle with chronic pain, and I thought I can't be doing that. I just didn't think it was going to be possible, but I managed it. It was painful, I can't deny it, but you know, I wanted to be there. I wanted to join in and do the things that they were doing, and they were really kind and looked after me, and made sure that, you know, I kept up with them when we went on walks and things, and we went for a cold water swim as well, although we didn't actually swim, I have to say. We just, well, went in, stood around for a little bit up to our sort of belly button area, and then got back out again. It was right up in the hills, freezing cold, but amazing place. It's just so fabulous to be up there in that environment and to be able to swim. But it was too much for us. We just couldn't manage it. But, you know, we had a go. Anyway, do you know what? I don't know if I need to do anything more than the around the edge at this stage, and if I do, I'll redo it. But I'm just going to do a little stitch there to, I don't know if it's dark for you guys. It's very dark for me, so I'm going to put my light on. I can barely see. That's better. There we go. So as I said, some of these are stained, and they're ripped and torn and things like that, but that's the point of me using them for this project, is to use some of the pieces that, for those of you who know, I recently bought a stack of fabrics. I recently bought a stack of fabrics, and I wanted to use them up in this project. So now I haven't got an overall vision. I just know that I want to do it in a methodical way rather than just sort of putting a piece here and there. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just my preference. Yeah, I might as well use this little bit up. So yeah, so as I said, it's just been a busy week, couple of weeks, and I need to go to the post office today to pick up some things because it's the hen week this week. So we're going away again on Thursday, and for 2 nights in a beautiful big house, very luxurious, and we're having a hen weekend, or hen week. Well, we're going away Thursday, so we'll be away till Saturday. And funnily enough, so those of you who know, I went away to the Bronte Museum recently and had an amazing time then as well, and with my sister and niece actually, and we're going back there. We're going back to not to the same place, but we're going back to that area. So yeah, it'll be nice. Looking forward to that. And so my sister and I are doing all the organising. Well, mainly my sister, but I'm helping. And then, you know, so we're going early to the property to get set up. And yeah, it's going to be lovely. Another very lucky, another really nice few days. And then I'm going to be going down south for a week to look after my daughter's dog while they're away. So it's going to be a busy old time. And I'll be spending time with my grandchildren down there as well, and my son and daughter-in-law. So, oops, because they live in Oxford, so it'll be, you know, my daughter lives in near Wokingham. So yeah, so be down there. So it'll be, like I say, it's going to be a busy old time. I'm hoping that I'll still be able to do some videos when I'm down there. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to, and I'll take lots of things with me because I'm going to be on my own basically. I might as well make use of the time, you know, and no, I don't need to. You know, and do some nice things. Gosh, I hope you can see. I don't know if you could then. This is I understand why people are doing squares at a time, or you know, pieces at a time rather than one big piece, because it's so hard to do one big piece like this. But you know, this is how I'm doing it. So mainly because I want some sort of symmetry as much as possible. Just check. Oh. The only thing is I hurt my leg when I was away, my knee, the side of my knee and the back of my knee, just doing normal things, but I've pulled something and so painful. In just, you know, doing certain things, painful, moving in certain ways, putting pressure on it and that sort of thing. Honestly, I'm only 62, but this is the thing with chronic pain, you know, you can be any age and have these sorts of problems. So I know I'm not alone. There's many of us out there with struggling with this sort of thing. I did have a bed to sleep on when we were away camping, and a topper, a mattress topper, but it still wasn't enough to support my back and my legs, you know, my hips and legs. But, well, it supported me, but it didn't stop, you know, it caused more pain. Because in my own bed, I have to have a number of layers. Right, let's turn this around. I don't have a lot of room on my desk. This is the problem. What I should do is work on my sewing table, but even that's, but it actually, if I emptied off my sewing table, which is covered in fabrics and things in my sewing machine, then I could maybe do that there. But I'll be doing this while I'm away at my daughter's, and you know, be doing it at her dining table. I don't have a dining table as such. I have a bench because my kitchen, my lounge, I mean, I could, if I altered things, put a dining table, sort of a folding dining table or something in my lounge. But you know, I live in a very small cottage and there isn't room for a dining, there's no dining room. There's a small kitchen, sort of like a galley kitchen that I have a bench in that I can sit and eat at. You know, or yeah, or as I said, if I move things around down in the lounge, then I could maybe do something you know, put a table down there, but I haven't so far. I've just sort of kept it as it is for now. I mean, really, this room is a large room that I'm in currently, which I call my craft room. And there is room if I moved things around and sorted it all out. It's a mess at the moment. It's just things on the floor, not properly stored away. And yeah, if I sorted it out, it could be, you know, possible to do it on the floor even, you know. I've been watching some of you doing this project, and you've been doing it on, you know, dining room tables and floors in the lounge or wherever, dining room, or so I think we're all pretty much in the same boat. Love this piece, but it is badly stained. Just move them away. Yeah, it's badly stained. So I think these big, you know, these basting stitches, I think these are just going to hold these in place while I then plan the next lot of fabrics. What have I done here? There we go. Now, what I want to do is I want to have cantha stitch across the whole piece. So I also, that's not going to work, thinking about it. I might have to do cantha on certain pieces and not on others, because I'm going to do writing on this piece. I think that's going to be my main focus, is to do writing, bits of poetry, and oh, sorry, you probably can't see that. And maybe some quotes and, you know, just passages from favourite books, things like that. I want to do on this piece. So it's going to be like a little lap quilt. I'll keep it on one of my chairs downstairs, and it will, that's where it will be, you know, for comfort, and also it will look lovely. Right, cut that off there, and then on to the next one. So how many have we done? We must have done 2, 3. Have we done them all? See, I think that looks quite nice. Have we done them all? Have we? Yeah, I think. Oh, maybe not. No. Oh no, I've only done 2. Oh my goodness me, how can I be so unaware? Because I'm chatting. And I knew I would be chatty today because, you know, haven't been on for a while. So I hope that's all right. Right, I'm just going to use this piece up. I don't like wasting them. Actually, I'll just put a knot in it. I had a bit of an incident last night. There are some children that sort of, you know, are quite loud, riding around on their bikes and things in the evenings. You know, they're out, it's summer, they want to be outside in the evenings. And their parents obviously giving them the freedom to do so. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, as long as they're kept an eye on, because they're not, you know, they're sort of younger, on the younger side, sort of 8, 9. Anyway, they, last year, the same children started throwing things at my windows. So the garden at the back has very high walls, so that they wouldn't be able to see over. But they were throwing things indiscriminately over the wall and trying to hit something, maybe my windows. They did hit the windows, actually. And so one time they missed my head by a few inches, hitting the window though, and believe it or not, my window didn't smash, but it was a metal pipe that they had. It was the handle of some sort of I don't know. Yeah, it was some sort of handle, but it was a metal pipe, but it was solid inside with plastic inside. So it was sort of, I don't know, maybe it was a broom or something like that, but it'd have to be a pretty sturdy broom to have a handle like that. Anyway, so they threw that, and that was sort of the last straw last year, and I was really angry that they threw that, because it could have done some serious damage to my head. But then I think they were also, there's an elderly couple living at the back of my house in a bungalow, and they were also getting some hassle from these children. So they knew someone close by who said, had a word with these children, and so it stopped. And it was such a relief. I mean, I was considering all sorts of different things that I could do to put a stop to it, but luckily it stopped, and so I didn't do anything further. And then last night I heard this loud bang, looked out, and I saw these two children running away, and it was the same children that had done it last year. So I went outside to see what they had been throwing, and I found apples, and they'd been sort of had a bite of two out of their wild apples, I think, or they're from an apple tree in somebody's garden, and I think they'd been stealing these apples. Anyway, they'd thrown them into my garden, at my windows and what have you, and they'd landed in between plant pots, and so initially I didn't see them. Sorry, I'm just threading my needle. And then, so, I mean, at that point I was wearing pyjamas because I'd settled down. It wasn't that late, it was about 9 p.m, I think, maybe a bit earlier even, but I'd settled down in my pyjamas, and I was just sort of doing something, I don't know, and I just thought, I'm not going to put up with this. So I thought, right, I'm going to, because I saw them from the window, and they were sort of taunting me when one of them was, when they saw me, the other one hid, so I knew who they were. And so yeah, I decided to get dressed and go out and find them and give them a telling off. And so I went for a little walk about. So there's not many houses at the back of my house, so I knew they lived at the back somewhere. I knew they lived in one of the houses, so I went out and started looking for them, and I was just listening out for children's voices, and then I heard quite a few voices actually. So I followed the voices, and I found there's like a green area, a patch of grass in between, sort of a square of houses, if you like. That's how it works. There's these bungalows and houses at the back of me. They're sort of in squares, and with a green area for the children to play in the centre. So the parents were all sitting out in their chairs in a circle in this square of grass, just chatting away, and they saw me coming with these apples in my hands, and the looks weren't very nice actually. They were sort of like, can we help you type of thing. They weren't welcoming at all. So they knew something. They didn't know what the children had done, but they knew that I was there to say something, because my determined walk. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't sort of going to make a massive fuss. I was just going to tell the children what they did last year was very dangerous. Okay, throwing apples, not quite so much, but you know, I didn't want to put up with it again. So yeah, I saw the two boys and I just said to them, look, you know, you've thrown these apples at my window. And initially they denied it, and then I said, I saw you. And the one that had been taunting me pointed to the other boy and said it was him. So they quickly, you know, he quickly gave him up. But it was actually both of them, and I know they both did it. So anyway, so I just said to them, look, you know, you did this last year, and you threw a metal pipe, which was so dangerous. It just narrowly missed my head. You can't see what you're throwing, you know, where I am in the garden, so you don't know where, you know, where it's going to land, because of the high wall. And the parents weren't saying anything really. They were just saying, who are you, where do you live, you know, really actually quite ignorant people, I have to say. Sorry to say, but they were. And you know, no apologies, no sort of concern for me at all. And I was just sort of trying to talk to the boys, and one of the boys went off to sort of stand by his mum, and the mum was sort of at that point started telling him off, I guess. I couldn't actually hear what she was saying, but she was shouting. One of the mums of that one of the boys, and then the others parents just stared at me, didn't say anything, showed no concern whatsoever. And then the boy that was accused by the other boy, and also the one that I recognised the most, recognised from last year, he just apologised off his own back. So he said, I'm sorry, and you know, I'm a big softie. So I said, well, thank you for saying that. You know, I really appreciate you saying that. The other one didn't say anything other than, you know, sort of just, yeah. And so that was that. And then I I dropped the apples on the ground. And then this cheeky little boy came up to me and said, what did you do that for? In a really rough voice. And I said, well, so that you all can pick them up. And then I walked off. So yeah, very dramatic for me. Very dramatic evening. And I was upset. And I was upset because I'm a big softie. I was actually upset for the boy, one of the boys, the one who'd apologised, because even though, you know, he's a little tyke, it's his, you know, these children are not being supervised, and the parents are just, you know, sitting around in a circle. I don't know if they were drinking, I'm guessing they were, and the children are just left to roam, and just horrible. So yeah, I blame the parents, basically, is what I'm saying. You know, and like I said, he's probably a bit naughty at school and all of that sort of thing, but he's not being properly supervised by his parents. And this just makes me sad. You know, I feel sad for children because they don't stand a chance growing up. They really don't, unless they can pull themselves out of that environment, you know, at a stage where they've managed to find opportunities. You know, their lives are going to be pretty miserable, and that makes me sad. It really does. And funnily enough, my sister, who's a teacher, we were talking about this on the drive home from the Lake District. We were actually discussing this sort of, you know, the way society is, and how, you know, children are being left behind and won't stand a chance when they're older. if they're not, if there's no nurturing, it's just sort of they're being dragged up, if you like. Parents are too busy, you know, with their hair and makeup and I'm not just blaming the women, the men just going out to pubs and drinking, and I'm not saying they don't work or anything like that, you know. I'm just saying there's just no real nurturing. There's what I would call nurturing, and like I said, I just find it sad. So yeah, that's what happened. And then I came home and my adrenaline was pumping, so I rang my daughter and had a chat with her, and she would have been furious, actually. She wouldn't have you know, been soft like me. She would have been furious, and she would have made her feelings known. But I'm not like that, you know. I just tend to stay calm where children are. If the adults had, you know, been nasty or anything, then obviously I would have stood up for myself. But yeah, I mean, they were disrespectful towards me, but they weren't nasty as such. They just couldn't have cared less, and looked at me as if to say, well, who do you think you are? It was bizarre, really, really bizarre. I just don't get it. I think I interrupted their lovely evening while their children were out throwing apples at people's houses. Apples that they'd stolen from somebody's garden. Oh my gosh, honestly. Well, there's worse things happening in the world right now. It's a small matter, easily resolved to some degree, you know, as long as there's no retaliation. And I don't think there will be. Because one of the parents of the child, the boy who apologised, wasn't there in that circle, they said, oh, well, his parents aren't here. So I sort of expected one of them to maybe pop round to my house, because the child knows where I live, obviously. But no, nobody came. And, you know, I thought maybe they'll come today, but no. You know, just to sort of apologise and show some concern. But no, nothing. Mind you, it is raining. Probably don't want to get wet. Yeah. I mean, my daughter's children are... Well, my granddaughter is 10. And I just, you know, there's no way in any sort of world would she behave in that way. You know, she's not allowed out on her own, for one thing. Even with friends, you know, she has play dates and things, but she's not allowed to just wander the streets. It's horrific. Especially in this day and age. I mean, when I was a child, I was allowed to wander. You just did in those days. Not far, and always my parents knew where I was. I didn't go off anywhere without telling them. But we would play in the streets, you know, around the houses, and maybe even get up to a bit of mischief now and again, but nothing like throwing things in people's, you know, at people's houses. Didn't do that. You know, I've heard of children throwing eggs at people's houses. That's never happened to me, but yeah, I don't understand why they would do it. Well, it's just mischief, isn't it? You know, a bit of excitement. Which is what I'm saying, they're bored. They're bored just wandering around on their bikes and, you know, not being stimulated by their parents. They're bored, and so they want to get up to mischief. And then there's a level of mischief that, you know, oversteps the line, and I think that's it. You know, they don't know that I could be very vulnerable. They don't know. They didn't know if I had a child in the house even, or a baby in the garden, you know, playing in the garden, or a toddler, or could have been anybody at the back of my house. They don't know because they can't see over the wall. Anyway, started off very positive, and then actually I don't feel it's not a particularly nice story, but I don't feel upset about it today at all. I'm hoping I've nipped it in the bud, and oh, now look what I've done. How did I do this? Okay, I'm going to have to probably end. I cut there, and I have to cut there because it's knotted and I can't. Sometimes when you have a long piece of thread, it does that, doesn't it? I don't think there's anything else. Just the usual, you know. I wish that I had been in here more recently. You know, walked past every day and, you know, doing my things and being busy, and just wishing I could be in here. And I have been in here, but I've been focused on the hearts. But what I mean is I would have liked to have done other work as well. The hearts just it was so intense for me, and they're not that complex, but it felt intense making them. I wanted to do a good job for my niece, and I wanted to do a good job. So anyway, but you know, we're coming up to, I hate to say this because I really don't, I love summer, I love spring and summer, and I actually really like autumn, but I can't bear winter. I just can't. But one good thing is that I will be able to be in my room, you know, in this room, craft room, just doing some crafts every day and enjoying it, and not thinking that I should be out in the sunshine, which is what I, you know, what I normally think. If the sun's shining, I think I should be in the garden, making sure that, you know, oh, that's gone straight through. Put another knot in. Actually, I might need to put, I picked some sweet peas last night. My sweet peas came up, and I mean, well, they've been coming up, but they've flowered, and their smell, I had them right next to my bed all night and I could smell them. Oh, there's nothing like the smell of sweet pea. I mean, it's the same with roses, you know, the smell of rose, and well, all scented flowers like that, you know, they've got their own distinct smell, but sweet pea, oh, you know, everybody loves a bunch of sweet pea. And they're so pretty and delicate as well. I'm going to grab them if I can. These videos always take a long time. I am slow stitching though, I'm not really going very fast. Okay, so that's that done. So where there's holes and things like that, they'll be patched up. So, you know, if you're wondering. Okay, so that's all of them on. And I'm happy with them because I can, you know, as I say, I can cover this little bit with something pretty, or, you know, just write on it and not worry about the stain. You know, the stain is part of its story. And yeah, I'm happy with them. And they'll sort of just provide a starting point for me to then, you know, make my way around. So that's that one. And then we've got this one. I've tried to keep the same distance here, so it's like an inch, 1 inch between all of them, the edges. Well, on the, you know, on this side. On this side, I'm not sure actually, what is it? Oh, it's about an inch. It's not, well, no, it isn't. Yeah, it's not far off, just a couple of centimetres off. Yeah. So, and this piece isn't as badly stained, so I could just sort of add something onto the end there. So yeah, so this is what I've done so far. I'll try and do some shots of it on the floor or something, so that you can see it as a whole. And I will try and clear my sewing table off so that you can see more of it when I'm doing it, hopefully. So yeah, so the plan is to, I'm not an embroiderer as such, I don't have those sorts of skills, but I intend to do some writing and maybe some flowers, some simple flowers and just little motifs, you know, and if I can find patterns I'll use those. But and then I'll be adding things on, so I'll be adding, you know, these little things in somewhere as well, you know, the ones that I want to use. So it might be sort of over the thing like that, just to give interest and sort of start to make my way around the edges with different things. So I've got, let me see if there's anything here. No. So I've got things like this with the edges that I'll intend when they're badly damaged. This one's not badly damaged, but I've got a few that are, so I'm going to take the edges off, and I'll probably, you know, sort of have those going around as well, because I've got a lot of them, so I might even use them as my edging going around square to square. I can't show you the whole thing, sorry. But yeah, something like that, and or the other way around, so it would be that way with that edging there. But yeah, and then colour will come last. If I'm going to put colour on, it will come last. So this is sort of the you know, this is my base, this is my second layer. And then I'll probably do a third layer, but I will be doing stitching, so I don't know quite how that will look. Well, anyway, I just thought I'd show you. I'm going to now show you the hearts. Just grab them quickly when I jump to hand. Well, they are, but they're a bit, you know, out of the room. So these are the hearts. So this one is for the bride, because her main colour theme for the wedding is sage. It's like a sage green. So I've this is the largest heart, and that's one. You can see the difference in size. They're not much different, but there's enough difference. So that, yeah, so this is the one for the bride. I'll be telling Ellie not to look. So I've stitched a heart on here. Well, actually, so the main layer was, you can see it, it's an napkin, and it's one of those jacquard napkin pieces. And I had two, and I used 1.5 for all of these. And then I added these lace pieces on top, and this fabric here that I turned the other way. So on this side, you can see the way that it was meant to be. On this side, you can see I've turned it round to the back side. I'm trying to explain the wrong side, if you like, but I think it was prettier. It wasn't too dark. I liked the softness of it. And then I've had more lace there. This lovely button. They're vintage buttons, all of them. And then this little hanger. And on the back I added, because this one had some staining on it, I added another layer of lovely cotton fabric. It's really pretty. Well, not pretty, but it's really nice fabric. I cut out these hearts from this lovely fabric. These are the initials of the bride and groom, and then the date that they're getting married. And then because I stitched this on, I wanted to hide the stitching, so I cut out little, you can't actually see it's a heart, but this is a heart, and I've just added that in. And then for the around the edge, what I did was before I filled them and sewed them up, I added a piece of muslin, very soft muslin, around the edge of them all, and that's how they've got these nice fluffy edges, which I really like. Just gives it a bit of a shabby look. And then inside there is a lavender sachet that I sewed together, and then the padding, the wadding inside as well. So I did think I was going to do some hearts, and I did actually sew a couple on. I think I've still got one on there. Yeah, so I did. I tried. This one will be mine. This sort of the most experimental one. So this one's going to be mine. And I did stitch some little hearts on, but yeah, I wasn't keen, so I'm not going to put them on these. And I haven't. You can see I haven't got that fabric there, so I'm just going to leave that because it will be mine. On this one, again the fabric, the jacquard fabric wasn't. It was or jacquard fabric. Well, it was stained, so I added this little piece of cloth here, which was from an old curtain, and then I added the heart, the large heart, and then this was actually. I was thinking it was going to be the main one for the bride, but then it ended up not being as nice as the others. My stitching wasn't as nice either, so I decided, well, I'll have this one. And then everybody, again, another vintage button. I did two hearts there because I forgot that when I put this one on, I'd already got a heart there. So that's that one. And again, you know, very similar looking. This one is a different jacquard fabric than this one. You can see the difference in colours. So this one is more white, and yeah, and then I use lace here, the layered lace there, and then this, and more lace up here. And on the back again, the same type of thing, but much better stitching, clearer. That had a little stain on it, so I added a piece there. Nobody's going to be bothered about something like that, but I wanted to cover it up. And then a heart there, and a nice vintage button again. Same here, same design at the back. And then this one, which has again different fabrics, so they're all different. As you can see, they've all got different laces on, and some have different fabrics on them as well, sort of soft muslin fabrics as well as lace, and that has layers of lace there at the top. And then this one has layers like that, which is really nice. I like that effect. And the same on the back. So I got more and more confident doing these as I was going. So yeah, so I'm really happy with them. I've got one more to make, and then they'll be done. But yeah, they're more or less done. The final one is a smaller one, and it will be finished fairly soon. So everybody's going to get one of these. I might stitch initials on so that, and give people, rather than get them to, well, yeah, I won't be just, you know, saying have a choice. I think I'll just be offering them to different people, so that will be the way it goes. So that's a little gift for the bride and the hens. And that's it really. I think I've been on a while. Yeah, been on long enough. So I'm going to carry on working, and then I may well do another video if I get a chance. I'm going to have a coffee now. I haven't had one yet. And I want to do some other work, Slow Stitch. I'll probably film that actually, because it's a different project, so I'll be doing that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching and just seeing what I'm up to and hearing my stories, and I'll be back very soon to do more. So take care everyone, and thank you for watching, and thank you for your support, and welcome to any new subscribers. Take care, bye for now.